Good evening on the World News tonight from Baba Bagide Imo Television. First, the headlines. Inec at liberty to prescribe mode of result transmission, court rules today. Presidential villa shut down as Asari Dokubo's group backs Tinubu. Why we upheld Shetima's nomination tribunal. Peter Obi's petition against Tinubu incompetent, defective, beyond repair. Presidential Tribunal dismisses Obi's allegation of rigging election for Tinubu. And on sport, 8 players arrive Super Eagles camp. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. The news shortly. The Presidential Election Petitions Court on Wednesday ruled that the Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec) was at liberty to decide the mode of transmission of election results during the presidential election on February 25, 2023. The 5-man panel led by Justice Aruna Sameni said, according to Section 52 and 65 of the Electoral Act 2022, Inec was at liberty to prescribe the manner in which election results were transmitted during the poll. The tribunal consequently dismissed the petition of the Labour Party LP and its presidential candidate Peter Obi, which argued that the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress (APC) be annulled on the basis of the failure of the Commission's result viewing portal Inec to upload election results electronically in real time. The tribunal also dismissed Obi and LP's petition on 25% vote of Tinubu in the Federal Capital Territory, that saying that Abuja is like other states. The court also said the petitioners, Obi and LP, failed to prove that Tinubu was convicted for money laundering in the United States. The Justice Samini panel ruled that no record of criminal arrest or conviction was established against Tinubu by the petitioners. Government activities were temporarily grounded on Wednesday as top government officials, including Vice President Kashim Shettima, led the government team to the appeal court for the presidential election petition judgment. Some governors of the All Progressive Congress (APC), ministers, and other top government officials joined the Vice President in court. The office of the Vice President at the presidential villa was like a ghost place as many offices were shut. This was also the case at the President's wing, as most of the staff of the President were said to have joined the Vice President at the appeal court. Recall that the President Bola Tinubu had traveled to India to attend the G20 summit. Outside the Court of Appeal premises, it was a behave of activities as Asari Dokubo Group held sway in what they describe as pro-President Bola Tinubu's presidency. The group operates under the aegis of Asari Dokubo's Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force. They said they were protesting an attempt to use the youth against Tinubu's election. Kiozua Daniels, coordinator of the group, told that we are in solidarity with the declared mandate by Inec given to Bola Tinubu. Daniel said they have been on the ground for 109 days protesting to back the Tinubu presidency. According to him, their activities were motivated by the need to halt attempts by the Obi Detty group to use youth and ethnicity to blackmail the Inec over the declaration of Tinubu as president. We noted that before now, there had been attempts to use youth and wipe out ethnic and religious sentiment to blackmail President Tinubu. We advise everyone with grievances to go through the proper process and not intimidate the judges with mischief eyes on the justice. They said they are also kicking against what they see as an attempt to endanger the lives of people and judges and their families by publishing photographs of the judges and their families. They informed that the police gave them clearance to state their protest and gave them the place where they gathered at the Eagle Square behind the office of the head of service of the Federation. However, they stated that they are willing to abort whatever decision comes out of the court judgment. Whatever the judges decide, we will abide by it. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on Wednesday struck out the petition of the Allied People's Movement (APM) in a ruling on the objections against the petition made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and the All Progressive Congress (APC). The presiding justice of the court, Justice Aruna Simon Tamani, held that the petition lacked merit and competence for it to be determined. Among others, Simoni said the disqualification issue on which the petition was predicated was pre-election matter that ought to have been taken to the Federal High Court and not a tribunal. Being a pre-election matter, the tribunal said it has no jurisdiction to dabble into the issue of disqualification, to question the nomination and declaration of Tinubu, Shettima, and APC victory at the presidential election. It also held that the petition was statute barred, having been filed outside the period allowed by law. It further held that the APM lacked the local standing to institute the petition because its presidential candidate, as a necessary person who stood for the presidential election along with Tinubu, was not part of the petition. APM's grounds was that Shettima engaged in double nominations for a senatorial election in Borno and later as a running mate to Tinubu. It prayed that the tribunal asked both Tinubu and Shettima for allegedly violating sections 131 and 137 of the 1999 Constitution in the ways and manners one Kabiru Masari opted out as Tinubu's running mate and Shettima brought in. Still on the presidential election, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on Wednesday in Abuja ruled that the petition of the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Gregory Obi, was greatly incompetent and defective beyond repairs. The tribunal, in a ruling on several objections against the petition, struck out several paragraphs of the petition for being vague, incompetent, inconsistent, nebulous, and self-contradictory. In the ruling delivered by Justice Abba Mohammed, Obi's petition was said to have raised several general allegations of malpractices, irregularities, corruption without being specific as required by law. The tribunal held that while Obi claimed to have scored the highest number of lawful votes in the February 25th presidential election, he failed completely to state or specify the number of the lawful votes he claimed to have won. Justice Mohammed said to worsen the situation, the Labour Party's presidential candidate pleaded report of forensic expert but failed to file the report along with the petition or serve some on the respondent in the petition. Besides, Justice Mohammed said Obi's claim that his votes were suppressed in favor of Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress APC was vague because he failed to give out any figure of votes established the claim. The tribunal also held that Obi's allegations that votes credited to Tinubu were inflated was untenable because he never mentioned the number of the votes dashed to Tinubu. On the allegations of corrupt practices, Justice Mohammed stated that it is not every allegation of corruption that is regarded as corrupt practices, adding that affirmance in the pleading must be specific and not general as done by Obi. The law is very clear that where someone alleged irregularities in a particular polling unit, as in the stand petition, such a person must prove the particular irregularities in that polling unit for him to succeed in his petition, it said. The tribunal also held that Obi did not prove the particular polling unit where elections did not take place and that he also failed to specify particulars of polling units where the complainants of irregularities were alleged. Moving on to the next story. The Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC, sitting in Abuja, has dismissed the allegation by the Labour Party, LP, and its candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, that the 2023 presidential election was rigged in favor of President Bola Tinubu. The court, in its plenary ruling that was delivered by Justice Abba Mohammed, held that Obi and the LP did not, by way of credible evidence, establish their allegations that the election that held on February 25 was characterized by manifest corrupt practices. It held that though the petitioner alleged that the election was marred by irregularities, they however failed to give specific details of where the alleged infractions took place. The court noted that whereas Obi and the LP insisted that the election was rigged in 18,088 polling units across the Federation, they were unable to state the locations of the said polling units. If it further held that Obi's allegation that fictitious results were recorded to President Tinubu and the APC by the Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec) was not proved. More so, it held that the petitioners were unable to state the figures and states where the claim reduced from election results they garnered in different states or the Federation, especially in Ondo, Oyo, Rivers, Yobe, Borno, Taraba, Osun, and Lagos State. It held that the petitioners equally failed to state the polling unit where overvoting occurred or the exact figures of unlawful votes that were credited to Tinubu by the Inec. The court held that though enough petition contains serious allegations that bordered on violence, non-voting, suppression of vote, fictitious entry of election results, and corrupt practices, the petitioners, however, failed to give particulars of specific polling unit where the indices took place. It held that several portions of the petition that contained the allegations were voted imprecise, nebulous, and bereft of particular materials. And nevertheless, the court dismissed the contention of the respondent that Obi was not validly nominated by the LP to contest the presidential election. It noted that respondents had argued that Obi left the PDP, People's Democratic Party, on May 24, 2022 and joined LP on May 27, 2022. The respondent argued that as at May 30, 2022, Obi was not a valid member of the LP and could not have duly participated in its presidential primary election. They insisted that his name could not have been contained in the membership register of the LP, which ought to be submitted to Inec 30 days before the primary election held. However, the court in its ruling held that the issue of membership is an internal affair of a political party which is not justiciable. It held that only the LP has the prerogative of determining who is its members, adding that the respondents were bereft of the legal to query Obi's membership of the LP. Likewise, the court held that, contrary to contention by Tinubu and the APC, the petitioners were not under any obligation to join Atiku Abubakar, who came second in the election, or his party, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, in the case. It held that both Atiku and PDP are not statutory respondents or necessary parties to the petition. Having decided the primary issues, chairman of a 5-member panel, Justice Aruna Samini, is currently reading the judgment of the court on the substantive matter. Moving on from the presidential election petition going on, as part of effort to reposition the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) for greater operational efficiency, the Acting Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adeniyi, has approved the deployment of controllers at various commands across the country. A statement signed by the National Public Relations Officer, Abdullahi Mewada, explained that the redeployment of the custom controllers was in response to the statutory retirement of some management members of the service. The Acting Controller General, Bashir Adeniyi, has approved key appointment and redeployment within the service to ensure operational efficiency, the statement read. Consequently, controllers Florence Nanu Oga Monday and Queen Ogudu have been appointed Acting Assistant Controller Generals, Training and Doctrine Command, TRADOC, and Colonel Coordinator Zone B, respectively. Their statement noted that some of the controllers affected by the redeployment included Captain Jayoba Jide from Oyo Osun Area Command to Apapa Area Command, Controller Dara Nadi from Seme to Tinkan Island Ports, Captain Timi Bomodi from KLT to Seme, and Captain Ahmed Abe from PCA Zone C to Kaduna Area Command, and Captain Babandede Mohammed from Lilpon Export Command to Lagos Free Trade Zone Command. Others are Captain Dauda Ibrahim China from Investigation Headquarters to Kanu Jigawa Area Command, Captain Matina Titele Gado from Non-Instructive Inspection to KLT Area Command, Controller Oloyede Adekunle from Tinkan Island Port to Import and Export Headquarters, while Controller Zana Chiroma will be leaving Import and Export for PCA Zone C, among many others, Controller, it said. The Acting Controller General Adeniyi congratulated the newly appointed and redeployed officers and charged them to put more effort into achieving the service's core mandates of revenue generation, suppression of smuggling, and trade facilitation. Still in Lagos, personnel of the Lagos State Command of the Nigeria Police Force have shot at students of the University of Lagos, Unilag, and members of the National Association of Nigerian Students protesting against fees increment by the school authorities. So information learned that the lawless police operatives, after disrupting the peaceful protest, also arrested an activist, Philip Olatunwo, and 2 other protesters. The information out on Tuesday informed the police of plans to hold the peaceful protest on September 6, 2023 at the University of Lagos. NANS had warned the Department of State Services not to prevent students from exercising their right to protest, saying it is a universally recognized human right, but in an update, it was learned that the police had disrupted the protest, shooting at the protesters and arrested some of the students. Moving on to the next story. Students of the University of Lagos protested the hike in their school fees, said registering their grievances is unconnected to the ongoing presidential election petition tribunal judgment in Abuja. They revealed that the protest date had long been picked before the tribunal announced the date for the verdict. A spokesman for the protesting students, Miracle Yemo, while speaking with correspondents on ground, "We fixed the date long before now. It is just a coincidence that our protest fell on the same day as the PEPT verdict. The students are asking, amongst other things, the immediate reversal of the school fees, which they said was increased by 600%. They are also accusing the management of the university of being insensitive to the plight of the students, who they said are mostly indigent, before hiking the fee. The students also frowned at the attack on the student by the police, noting that they fired tear gas at them. Speaking on the arrest of their colleagues Femi Adeye, Philip Olatunwo, and Temitope Giwa, Yemo demanded their immediate release, saying they were on a peaceful course. They should be released. We are harmless, but they threw tear gas at us. It is a non-violent protest, so we demand the release of our colleagues. The Unilag's Dean of Student Affairs, Professor Musa Obalola, in his response, said the university will come up with an official communication later. Moving on to the foreign story. China has banned officials at central government agencies using Apple's iPhones and other foreign branded devices while at work, the Wall Street Journal reported today. The report recalls that in recent weeks, staff were given the instructions by their superior in workplace chat, groups or meetings, but it wasn't clear how widely the orders ranged. The ban comes ahead of a new line of iPhones to be launched, which reports say could trigger concerns among foreign companies operating in China as Sino-US tensions escalate. China, for over a decade, had been seeking to reduce reliance on foreign technologies, asking state-affiliated firms such as banks to switch to local software and promoting domestic semiconductor chip manufacturing. Beijing ratcheted up till this campaign in 2020 when its leaders proposed a so-called dual circulation growth model to reduce reliance on overseas market and technology as it concerns over data security grew. In May, China urged big state-owned enterprises to play a key role in its drive to attain self-reliance in technology, raising the stakes in the race amid rifts with the United States. From the foreign scene to end the world news is a sports story. 8 players are now in the Super Eagles camp in Uyo ahead of their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sao Tome and Principe. The early birds are new invitees Gift Orban, Jordan Torno Aruga, and Victor Boniface. Other players in camp are Terran Eboyi, goalkeepers Adeleye Adebayo and Francis Uzor, as well as Bruno Onyemachi. The players were received at the airport by members of the Nigeria Football Federation Protocol Department. More players are expected in camp later today. The Super Eagles will hold their first training session this evening at the practice pitch of the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, on Sunday. That ends the world news this hour from BGI TV. Before we go, some major headlines. Inec at liberty to prescribe mode of result transmission, court rules. Presidential villa shut down as Asarido Kubo's group backs Tinubu. Why we upheld Shetima's nomination, tribunal. Peter Obi's petition against Tinubu incompetent, defective beyond repairs. Presidential tribunal dismisses Obi's allegation of rigging votes for Tinubu. And on sport, 8 players arrive Eagles camp. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Baba Bagede Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on the screen for advert placements only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rabila Lawa. Good evening.